Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the garage for another edition of Andy the Gabby Cabby Live and Alive. Hope everyone is all right this evening and hope you have had a good day. I was aptly reminded earlier that it's Tuesday. I was walking around all day thinking it was Monday. It's a good job I didn't have to be anywhere that important apart from here to do this very live stream. So what's this all about? Well, I had a good question earlier about Sadiq Khan relating to a video I did. So I thought I would put this little live together and we'd go through it together. Here's the thumbnail for this live you can see right now. Now, before I go on to the question that the person asked, and again, it's a very important one, it's equally important to recap today what Sadiq Khan said with regard to events over the weekend. So together, let's have a listen.
Look, before we begin, I want to address the events of this weekend. On Saturday, Met officers once again put themselves on the line to keep Londoners safe and facilitate the right to protest. I want to say thank you to all those involved for their work and to offer my heartfelt thoughts to those that were injured in the line of duty. I know that policing protest, especially of the sort we saw this weekend, is complex and places huge demand on the Met. I was shocked by the violence officers faced, and I've been clear that it's completely unacceptable. I also want to take the opportunity to categorically reject the appalling racism we saw on the capital streets this weekend. As the far right attempts to sow hatred, fear and division, I know many Londoners will be feeling scared. I want to be clear, everyone, no matter their race, faith or background, is welcome here. Now's the time for us to come together.
Have you noticed when he says far right, his teeth kind of go far right? It's, you know, the same old trope being rolled out again and again and again, and people get seriously hurt off the back of that. Now, just to cover this as well, I want to show you this video. This is a piece of footage that the Metropolitan Police Service released, trying to imply that this occurred at the United Kingdom march over the weekend. This piece of footage you are seeing right here is a few years old. It was actually from one of the lockdown protests that occurred within London around that time. So they're all at it, trying to gaslight the living bejesus out of us. And if you look at my earlier video, you will see what I thought of his so-called far-right trope. Now, the video I did generated this question I'm going to show you right now, because I mentioned English law and I mentioned constitution, as I always do. And I got this. Good afternoon. Could you please provide a link to the English constitution and the section that would delegitimise Sadiq Khan's position as Mayor of London? If it were implemented as you stated, I'd hazard a guess that your experience of growing up in the 80s was different to his on account of you being white. It's a shame when we have to quantify it like that, isn't it? I grew up in the 70s and it was frankly an appalling time, and I am white. Well, as you can see, I am white, as you say you are as well. Now, I suppose it's really where you grew up, what you were experienced with, you know, where you grew up. I mean, I grew up in the southeast. I'm still here. I won't go too much into my family, but let's just say I was brought up in an environment which was safe by virtue of certain things. And, you know, maybe I led a sheltered life. I don't know. But, you know, everybody has a different upbringing, don't they? But to the question, where is this? Where is this thing that I talk about within English law? That's the thing, English law. Well, it all starts with here. And I'll bring this up on the screen for everybody to see. And it's very important that what I'm about to show you now, you understand this and realise, or at least attempt to understand, why we've got the problems we have with Khan and everybody else. Now, this document is something called the Act of Settlement. And I'll march it all the way up to the top, and you can see there, Act of Settlement 1700, Chapter 2, 12 and 13, Will 3. And, you know, this is one of the founding documents that make up what we come to know as our Constitution. And across all of them, the Bill of Rights is another one. It lays out what our fundamental rights as English men and women are, or were at the time of writing. Now, the very specific thing I want to draw your attention to is this paragraph here. I'm going to read it to you. And as I said, you need to understand what I'm saying to you. After the said limitation shall take effect as aforesaid, no person born out of the kingdoms of England, Scotland, or Ireland, or the dominions thereunto belonging, although he be made a denizen, except such are born of English parents, shall be capable to be of the Privy Council, or a member of either House of Parliament, or to enjoy any office or place of trust, either civil or military, or to have any grants of land, tenements or hereditaments from the crown to himself, or to any others in trust to him. So what does that mean? And bear in mind, this is 1700. What it's basically saying is that if you are not born of English parents, then what occurs is that you can't be a politician, you can't be a mayor, you can't be an officer in an army, you can't be a councillor, you can't be a police officer, you can't be any of those things that where you're exposed to any area of the state that, you know, could be compromised by your presence. That's what that was. That was there to protect the state, the English state. That law is still there. If you look at Halsbury's Laws of England specifically, it's all there, laid out over multiple volumes. Now you ask the question, why particularly did we get Sadiq Khan? Why did we get, is it Sabima Mahmood in Parliament, David Lammy, Diane Abbott even, and all of those other people? It's very simple. Years later, and what you have to understand, they tried this and it got abolished before, but years later, in 1948, you had something introduced called the British Nationality Act. Now, what the British Nationality Act did, well, it was constitutional treason, for want of a better word. They call it constitutional vandalism, but it amounts to treason because what's happening is it's usurping the English Constitution. It's trying to destroy it. So let's have a look and I'll show you. This is it again, and you can see all this. All this information's in the public domain. This is off the website, the government website. Now, what you're seeing here is a list of repealments. If I just scroll all the way to the top, you'll see there, British Nationality Act 1948. Now, there's another British Nationality Act 1981, which further solidified or doubled down on what was done in here. Now we're back at this list of repealments. And repeal obviously means get rid of. Now, what I want to take you to, bear in mind this is 1948, the Act of Settlement. So the act that we're talking about, the Act of Settlement, which is the one we've just gone through. I hope everybody understands that one. Extent of repeal. So what's going to be gotten rid of? Now, in section 3, the words from that after the said limitation shall take effect to in trust for him. Now, that's very important because by repealing that, what you then do, you remove that whole paragraph from the Act of Settlement. Or you're saying that paragraph in the Act of Settlement no longer has effect. We've repealed its meaning, got rid of it. So then you get Sadiq Khan, you get David Lammy, you get Diane Abbott, you get what's-her-face Mahmood, you get all the others. This is why we are in the trouble we're in. Now, the other things about the British Nationality Act as well, you've got these other acts, an act for the more effectual suppression of piracy, and the words natural born and denizens of kingdom has been taken out. The Piracy Act, 1744, the words natural born, denizens has been taken out. The Legitimacy Declaration Act, natural born has been taken out. The Juries Act, 1870, natural born in both places where it occurs has been taken out. The merchant ship, so on and on and on. And if you scroll down to the bottom, again, there's more repealments, and you can see quite clearly anything that describes a natural born person of England, Scotland, Wales, they're getting rid of it. So then what that does is open the doors to, you know, the uncontrolled situation we've got now. And you wonder why we got the problems we have. It really is out of control. Now, if you actually read these acts, you can see the damage that they have done, the damage that they are starting to do to our countries. This is the thing. Now, I want to show you another piece of English law as well. It's this one here. This is taken out of Halsbury's Laws of England. I think it's volume 8. In addition, civil servants may be subject to a purge procedure and positive vetting. The purge procedure is designed to prevent persons with communist or fascist associations being employed on work, the nature of which is vital to the security of the state. So anyone with communist intentions, anybody that's got fascist ways about them, have to be purged. That's the way of it. You all heard of the Fabians Society? Communist lefty think tank. Well, have a look at this picture. This is taken from the history page of the Fabians website, and it gives you a list of all of the chairmen of the Fabian Society going back years and years and years. And if we scroll down to the bottom, 2008 to 2010, who do we find? Sadiq Khan. You've got others in there as well, Ed Balls being one of them, and scroll down the list, Margaret Hodge, you've got others' names, but there you go, Sadiq Khan. So Sadiq Khan was the chairman of an organisation that is purely based on the ideas of socialism, communism, whatever kind of ism you want to say. And I've just showed you the law that, if applied, means that he and others of similar ilk could not hold the office to which they currently do. It would be illegal. That is why they want to destroy England. That is why they want to regionalise everything. That is why they want us back in the EU. And then they can transpose their own version of administrative law over the whole lot, and everything I've told you will be lost and gone forever. That's why we need to make sure it isn't. What do I mean by regionalisation? Have a look at this. This is England. You know, you've got a devolved administration in Scotland, devolved administration in Wales, devolved administration in Northern Ireland, and this is England. What you've got here is the regionalisation of England. Greater London, southeast, southwest, you can see it all. And you talk about mayors and you talk about regions, no counties, no shires. What they're doing is carving us up into these different regions, because what the overall plan is, and again, this is in the public domain too, if they get away with this and have England in this way, then they can sneak us back into the EU by the back door. We then become one big happy family like the USSR was back in the day. and they can impose their own constitution and their own system of law onto the people of our country. That's where all this is heading, folks. That's why they're shit scared of the English. That's why they won't have English on stages in big events like at the weekend talking about all this kind of thing, because they know full bloody well that it will undo everything that they're planning to do. The Constitution is the solution. And people need to hear this information. People need to learn this information for themselves. People need to understand this information. On the 28th of September, there's a seminar in Essex. I'm going to try and make it if I can. And it's something that Graham Moore's delivering, part of the English Constitution Society. And having studied it for 30 years, he knows far more about it than I ever bloody will. That is for sure. Anyway, at this stage, folks, thank you very much for watching. We've got 500 in the house. Appreciate it very much. If I can ask you to hit the like, subscribe to the channel. It's time to go through your comments and see what you have to say. Blood, hello, my friend. Copy and paste this to show your support. I'm assuming that's supposed to be the England flag. Unfortunately, YouTube, as I was just saying about censoring England, that puts it in black. And it's happening an awful lot. I love this guy, Red Sly 70. Every single time I comment, or every single video I do, I find a comment like that. I'm not sure whether they're taking the piss, bored out of their brains, fast asleep, or a combination of the whole, all three. But thank you very much. Who we got here? WTF. Good evening, good people. Good evening to you. Hope you're well. We have got Liam Strange. Same to you. Hello. Good to see you. I think it's good that the person made that comment because, you know, we can talk about it and drill deeper into it. Mr. Got No Clue What a Vile Individual Can. Exactly. You know, everybody feels it. And then all he can do is label everybody far right. As I said in my video, I mean, I played the bloody thing. We all have our own genuine, valid concerns about what's going on. How dare he label us far right? You know, in the English Constitution, nowhere does it make reference to skin colour, tone, creed, or anything like that. Nowhere. So it's them that are stirring up all this hatred. Steph Castley, good evening. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. Thank you for joining me. We have Nigel. Khan is a bottom-feeding parasite. I've heard some names. That's got to be up there with them. It really has. We have got D. Watercraft. It was disgusting that 4 of his officers punched a male in the face. Was that video, D, where they were like on kind of up high and then all of a sudden he just come down and got pummeled by the old Bill? If that's the video I saw as well, I fully concur with that. Lee Grant, something tells me the London mayor doesn't like British people. He's got no problem with British. No problem at all, Lee. He's got a problem with English. That's what he's got a problem with. Same as the bloody rest of them. Craig Mawson, Andy, he is talking a load of bollocks. I'll tell you a funny story about an old friend of mine who died a few years ago. Whenever you used to say bollocks, his immediate reply, and I've used it myself, was yours or clean ones. I used to interchange them. Hi, Lord Jim Dandy. Hope you're well. Notting Hill Carnival. Exactly. Somebody did a great infograph on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and they had the crime statistics for the Notting Hill Carnival. And alongside it, they had the ones for United Kingdom. No comparison. Notting Hill Carnival. Whew. Paul Burridge, blowing it out of proportion. He's a bullshit master. You know what? This is somewhere near the truth. At the end of the day, his position's compromised. He knows his own popularity. God knows how he was London mayor again this time round. And everybody everywhere is starting to see the wood from the trees. The chickens come home to roost, or whatever you want to call it. and all they can do is reach for the far right card and go squawk, squawk, squawk. Well, it's not bloody good enough anymore. We want those who represent us to do something about this mess, and they won't. Always poo, English-British heritage, going back 2 to 3 generations, should be made law for going into public office. The 1981 Act changed things a little bit. I'm not quite sure where it read like that, but if you say English parents, that's 2 generations straight away, you and the last one. So, you know, and the important thing is parents. And in my opinion, and this is really just my opinion, if you allow the situation that we have, then if you look at all the other countries and all the other interests that these other individuals have, because by nature of their cultures, and it's not their fault, it's their culture, they're bringing that here and causing problems on our streets with our governments, with our systems and everything else. That's why that was in the Act of Settlement in the first place, to protect our government, to protect our country from the mess we have. So in my view, the British Nationality Act 1948 needs to be gone. And what effect would that have? Because you get people worried about breaking the union. We'd still be English, we'd still be Scottish, we'd still be Welsh, we'd still be Northern Irish, and we'd still be in a union. But we wouldn't be British. We'd live in Britain, the British Isles, but we wouldn't be British. That British Nationality Act forced that nationality onto us all like an overlay, like a piece of rice paper over something you want to trace. And then all of those naughty little people in this country that shouldn't really be here would have a bit of a problem. Very simple fix. And they won't do it. Why? 100% needs bringing back. Absolutely. Well, it's there. That's the thing, D. Watercraft. It's there. What needs to happen is the damage that was done to it needs reversing. That's what it is. Oh, I know I've got it, Space Bandit. I know I've got it. And there's some, I mean, I'm reading and reading and reading. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'll say that as a disclaimer right now, but law, particularly law like this, is a very big passion of mine. And once I get my teeth into something and I understand it and I pull it apart, yeah, Jesus. And you've really got to look, you've really got to research this stuff. And the more people that are aware of it, you know, the more chance there is of enacting something for our kids at some point, peacefully and legally, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, if we don't, what's the alternative? Doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Football teams were only allowed 2 foreign players back in the day. Well, that's it. Great Britain doesn't, or the British don't have a football team, do they? That's something to think about. He's labelling us when it's the other way around, when it comes to those who hate. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it, and I showed you the footage on here where the old Bill are trying to wind it up as well. It's, you know, they're injecting their own shit into these areas and trying to make us look bad. That's the whole thing. Tommy Robinson and the people attending his protest were, for the most part, look, you know, you're going to get the oddball every now and again that's going to be an arsehole, not drink too much, not do as they're told. I get it, of course. But to the extent that they're trying to make out, no. And, you know, you've got the media gaslighting as well, trying to say far right. I mean, there was some bloody woman on, what was it? Good Morning Britain, thingamy, lefty, whatever it is, saying, trying to tell us that she was having a conversation with all this lovely guy that was at the coffee stand at the train station. And she thought, I just want to talk to him. And then it's like, well, and, you know, trying to justify the position. I didn't believe the story. Truth Crusader, the English Constitution was created by a convention parliament and has safeguards written into it so as to stop an ordinary parliament cannot amend or repeal the Constitution. Absolutely fucking spot on. That's it. I mean, one of the other important things to realise as well, when you get Sharia courts and all that sort of thing come up, there's a supremacy clause in the Bill of Rights. which says English law must reign supreme. It's all there for everybody's protection. And the British are stamping all over it with their wish to regionalise, destroy England, and pull us all back into the EU, kicking and screaming. This is where it's going. Careful, Andy, they could use this to smear true patriots such as Ben. I think parliamentarians should simply be non-Muslim. What I'm trying to do, I'll find the best way of putting this I can, because I like Ben very much. What I'm trying to do, Electrodoc, is try and inform, because in my opinion, you need the right mix of people in the right place at the right time to put this country back the way it bloody well should be. And not always will you find a situation where the right people are being spoken to. In this case, people with English constitutional knowledge, and I mean very, very deep constitutional knowledge, the kind that win a court case, get an injunction against the British government kind of knowledge, are not being spoken to. There are so many things in the Constitution that can fix all of our problems. And if we're not careful, it'll continue. Hopefully, when the college expands and more things are done and spoken about, Advance will start saying these things that need to be said. I mean, I'm a member of Advance. I see that platform of Advance as part of the puzzle, part of the, we're going to kick them in the nuts and sort it out. Restore Britain's another thing. In fact, they're saying a few of the right things they should be. And there are other smaller entities that should be allowed their voice in the big arena that can bring something to the table. Instead, if they all polarize and don't talk and everything else, we ain't never going to get anywhere. Andy, don't forget the MP of Birmingham that wants to build an airport. Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Again, this is the thing where outside influences, I suppose, for want of a better word, are brought into our parliamentarian atmosphere, and they bloody well shouldn't be. Same thing, Acts of Settlement, illegally repealed. Why is it illegally repealed? Because that Schedule 4, the repealments within it, have such a large effect. They need to be known about, kind of first and foremost, front and centre, bosh, right in the top. That's why. The British Nationality Act 1948 and 1981 have been the cause of so much of the treason against us. Absolutely, Susan, you're bang on the money. And speaking of treason, who took that away from the statute books? Blair. Probably because he knew the course of action, the train of events, where everything was going. And, he knew that they were going to ride a wrecking ball through it. Townsend Simmons, yes, because as MPs and in public services, they can change the whole system to their ways. They can, if the people aren't wise to the tools that are there to stop them from doing it. That's where I always say knowledge is power. Knowledge is always power. No good telling us all this because we can't do anything about it now. It's too bloody late. Nick GB. Never ever say it is too late until it is too late. Until, you get to the end of it, it's never too late. I can't accept that. That's not in my makeup. That's not the way I feel about anything else. You just can't. You have to keep fighting and fighting and fighting until there's nothing left to fight for. Yeah, but in the same token, I do get why you say it. I do get why you'll say it. Now, what can you do? Problem is court collapse. I'm not the only one saying this stuff. I'm not the only one that knows this stuff. And if they do, then it just goes to show, doesn't it? It just goes to show. And as a Boy Scout, it was a very good motto that I remember: be prepared. And I am. And I shall continue to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, all the while I can. But what can you do? Learn. Read. Never second guess anything. If someone tells you it's left, believe it's right. Always check. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. Share this video, share the knowledge. And the most important thing of all, you know, they get by with general elections. They get by with their version of democracy, where 40% regularly don't turn up. That's no good. That's unacceptable. We have to get all of those people off their arse and out to make a difference. Otherwise, it's never going to change. Now, in November, there's a very important court case coming up where the by-election result, the Runcorn and Helsby by-election that returned Sarah Pochin as the MP for that area, is going to be brought into question. That could have very far-reaching consequences, not only for that election, but the whole bloody lot. You know, depending on what's found, it could have the potential to bring down the whole damn lot. That's the English Constitution. Think about it. Anyway, at the half an hour mark, thank you. I just wanted to pad out that comment because I thought it was an interesting one that we needed to talk about. And I hope somebody somewhere tonight has learnt something. That was the idea. So please let me know if you have. I would appreciate it very much. That's me done for today. Please share my stuff everywhere. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it very much. And as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.